Imagine trying to recall your very first memory. You picture a scene from your childhood, but the more you focus, the fuzzier it becomes. It's like your mind is playing a trick on you. In fact, most of us can't remember a single thing from before we were 3 or 4 years old. What if I told you this isn't just ordinary forgetfulness? It's actually a strange and surprising effect of how our brains develop, a hidden quirk in the way memory works. So why does your mind erase your earliest years as if they never happened? The answer isn't as simple as forgetting. There is a fascinating science behind this mystery, involving how our brain grows, how language forms, and the way emotions stick with us. Our memories shape who we are. They connect us to the people we love, the lessons we've learned, and the experiences that define our journey. But there's a strange gap in most of our personal histories, a blank space that leaves us wondering, why is it that almost none of us can remember anything from our first few years of life? Today, we're going to dive into the surprising science behind this phenomenon, often called infantile amnesia, and explore what it reveals about how our brains grow, how language plays a role, and why emotions leave lasting impressions even when memories don't. By the end of this video, you'll understand why forgetting your earliest years isn't a flaw, but a fascinating part of being human. Let's start with a term you've probably never heard before, but that explains this whole mystery: infantile amnesia. Infantile amnesia refers to the inability of adults to recall memories from the first few years of life, usually before the age of 3 or 4. It's not just you. This happens to almost everyone, across different cultures and background. Scientists began studying this phenomenon in the late 19th century and were puzzled by the fact that no matter how hard people tried to remember, those early memories seemed to vanish. Early research showed something interesting. Even when parents helped their children remember by showing photos or talking about past events, the memories didn't stick the same way later memories did. This wasn't just about forgetting over time, like misplacing your keys. It was something much deeper, a natural part of how our brains develop. So, what exactly happens inside our brains during those early years that makes it so hard to hold on to memories? To answer that, we need to take a closer look at the brain itself, especially a small but powerful structure called the hippocampus. The hippocampus might sound like a creature from a fantasy novel, but it is actually one of the most important parts of your brain when it comes to memory. Located deep inside your brain, the hippocampus acts like a memory organizer, helping to store and retrieve the experiences you live through. When you are born, your hippocampus is still immature and developing rapidly during the first few years of life. Because of this, it is not yet fully capable of forming long-term, detailed memories the way it does later in childhood and adulthood. You can think of it like a filing system that is not quite built yet. Without a fully developed system, your brain struggles to organize and keep memories from early life in a way that lasts. Studies using brain scans have shown that in infants and toddlers, the hippocampus undergoes massive growth. At the same time, other key areas of the brain, such as the prefrontal cortex, which helps with decision-making and organizing thoughts, are still in early stages of development. This means that while babies are experiencing the world, their brains are focused on learning language, understanding emotions, and building basic skills, rather than on saving detailed memories. Researchers have even studied animals to understand this better. Experiments with rats, for example, show that very young rats do not form lasting memories in the same way adults do because their hippocampus is not fully developed yet. As they grow, their ability to remember events improves dramatically, mirroring what happens in humans. But the story does not end with brain structure alone. There is another powerful force at work that shapes how our early memories form, or, more accurately, why they do not. It is something we use every single day but often take for granted. That something is language. As babies, we do not start speaking right away. Instead, we slowly begin to understand word, sounds, and the structure of language over the first few years of life. This process is more important than you might think when it comes to forming lasting memories. Researchers have found that language plays a crucial role in how we store and recall memories. When we remember something, we do not just store a mental picture or a feeling. We often use words to describe it. For example, remembering your first birthday party involves recalling the cake, the balloons, the people who were there, and also putting it into words like "I was turning 1" or "I wore a blue outfit." But before we develop language, our brains do not have the same way of organizing memories. Without words to label experiences, it becomes much harder to store them in a structured way that we can later recall as clear memory. Studies show that children who develop language skills earlier tend to have slightly better early memory recall later on. Still, even with early language, memories from before age 3 or 4 tend to fade. This is because language alone is not enough if the brain's memory systems are not fully developed. Interestingly, this is why most of our early memories do not feel like proper stories. Instead, they are fragmented images or fleeting emotions that we cannot quite piece together. Our ability to recall personal memories in full sentences only really kicks in once both language and brain structures are more mature. But understanding the brain and language is only part of the picture. There is yet another key ingredient that shapes how memories form during early childhood. It is not just the brain and language working together. Emotions play a powerful role in what we remember and what fades away. Emotions are at the heart of many of our strongest memories. Think about the times you remember most clearly in your life. They are often filled with strong feelings like joy, fear, surprise, or sadness. During early childhood, our emotional system is developing rapidly. In fact, babies and toddlers experience emotions intensely, but they lack the ability to fully understand or explain them in words. This means that while a young child may feel happy or scared during an event, they don't have the tools to organize that feeling into a coherent memory they can later recall. Interestingly, researchers have found that emotionally charged events, even in early childhood, are more likely to leave lasting impressions. For example, a child's first trip to the beach or a frightening visit to the doctor may remain as a vague feeling or fragmented image, even if the details are lost over time. But these memories often remain inaccessible to conscious recall because the brain isn't yet equipped to store them as full, structured stories. This explains why you might have a sense that something happened when you were very young, even though you cannot describe it clearly. Your brain remembers the emotion, but the facts fade away. Scientists believe this emotional memory serves an important purpose. In those early years, your brain is focused on survival, learning about the world, recognizing danger, and building social connections, rather than on storing detailed memories. This way, emotions help guide your behavior and learning without the need for a full memory of every moment. When we step back and look at the big picture, we begin to see how these pieces fit together. The developing hippocampus, the gradual growth of language, and the power of emotion all work in harmony to shape how and why your early memories fade. These are not just random processes working in isolation. They form part of a carefully designed system that helps your brain prioritize what matters most as you grow. Rather than leaving you with missing pieces of your past, infantile amnesia reflects how your brain is learning to make sense of the world, keep you safe, and build meaningful connections. So when you think about your life story, it is important to understand that the absence of early memories doesn't leave you incomplete. It shows how your mind has been busy developing the tools you need to navigate life today. With this deeper understanding, it becomes clear that infantile amnesia is not a flaw or a glitch in your memory. It is actually a fascinating and natural part of how the human brain develops and adapts. By learning how memories are formed and why they fade, we can better appreciate the incredible complexity of our minds and the remarkable journey we have all taken to become who we are today. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the mysteries of your mind, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Innerverse for more eye-opening insights.